Are you serious? Are you serious, folks? What? Something biblical's going on with the signs of the second coming of Christ. We've got some information breaking right now. Just incredible information that's coming. First of all, we've got some serious situation developing in Pakistan. In Pakistan, 16 children and one teacher have died in a bus fire. Matter of fact, in the very town that our evangelist that we support and our ministry takes care of, in the very town he's in. Now, I don't think it had anything to do with him. I don't even know who these children were, but 16 school children and a teacher burnt to death in an eastern Pakistan early Saturday morning. That's today, May the 25th, 2013, when a short circuit, they're saying, near the leaking gas tank caught fire in the minibus and burst into flames. Police officers are saying that that Hamid and 5 children were also injured, 3 of whom were listed in critical condition in the blaze there about 200 kilometers outside of the capital city of Islamabad. The children are between the ages of 6 and 12. So it's a terrible thing. Television footage shows the charred minibus. The victims of the relatives are crying outside the hospital. It's a horrible thing. Good news is I'm almost positive. Has nothing to do with our evangelist there in Lahore, Pakistan, but it did happen somewhere in the area where he and his orphanage are. Anyway, we want to thank Nick of New York for this. Please pray for this families of these children in this horrific crash. Also, not crash, but fire. Terrible situation. Also, Sweden, information developing. For the 6th night in a row, there's violence in the streets of Sweden. Sweden? What? Sweden? That's right. I want to thank Nick of New York for this information, but apparently the community patrols and a beefed-up police presence helped to calm the violence around Stockholm, Sweden, overnight Saturday, May the 25th, 2013. But 20 to 30 cars were still torched in poor immigrant suburbs, and serious incidences were reported outside the capital for the first time. The rioting in Stockholm abated after a week of mask use, vandalizing schools and police stations, setting cars afire, hurling stones at the firefighters and police. It is much calmer, but rocks weren't being thrown at police or firefighters, and that's a sign that things may be starting to calm down. We haven't had any riots or anything similar, but he says, still, we're trying to get it under control. Violence in Sweden as austerity measures are being put into play. Again, similar thing that's happening here in America. They're going through these budget cuts and tightening down and taking away the benefits from the taxpayers of the nations. It's happening in America. We call it sequester. It's happening in England. It's happening in Greece. It's happening in Spain. It's happening in Ireland. It's happening in Portugal. What? Something that, look, the world is crumbling. The economy is collapsing little by little, piece by piece. This thing is starting to get ugly, and folks need to understand what's going on around the world. The Bible talks about a one world currency. A one world currency known as the mark of the beast. And that is because there's going to be a one world government, a one world leader. The beast will be the one world government or the new world order. He'll be led by that beast, that government be led by an antichrist, and will have its sidekick, the false prophet, which is arriving undoubtedly out of radical Islam. And we're starting to hear the Pope now. We're starting to hear Pope Francis I calling for a Unitarian compromising religion. Now, he didn't say it in those words. He said he wants to see all Christians, Muslims and Jews, Hindus and Buddhists to come together, and atheists, to come together and worship together. That's not it can't happen. It won't work. You can't. Who are you worshiping to? Who you calling on? But just keep an eye on it. I'm not wanting to... Look, there's a lot of things about Pope Francis I that he's done that was actually needed to be done, okay? Get rid of the red shoes. Don't need all the fancy cloaks. Let's feed the poor. Let's do some of the things that's really the works of, and the gospel according to Jesus Christ. And I commend this Pope for doing that. And I'm not throwing Catholics on a bus. I'm not throwing Protestants on a bus. I'm just saying. But we cannot create some type of Unitarian worship, okay? It just won't work. But beware, in the last days, that is exactly what the Antichrist is going to try to push. I don't think it's going to try to push just collective worship. It's just going to push one false religion with a false prophet. And that, I believe, is coming from radical Islam. But we'll wait and see. Okay, let's wait and see. Oh, and by the way, we've got earthquakes yesterday, 8.3 Russia, and 6.8 Russia, and 5.7 California. Just a lot of earthquakes, over 6, over 5. The things are shaking and quaking. Hey, look, the devil's back is breaking. We're definitely seeing the birthing pains of a newfound movement of God, and that is to bring the end of an age and to get ready for the end of time. Certainly the times of the apocalypse. But just in the last 24 hours, I want to thank Troy of North Carolina for this information. We had a 5.0 earthquake in the Marquise Islands, 4.7 Panama, 5.6 East Timor, 4.5 New Guinea, 4.8 Indonesia, 5.2 the Marquise Islands, 4.9 Fiji, 5.3 Peru, 4.9 Russia, 4.4 Argentina, 5.2 the Mid-Atlantic Ridge, and a lot of activity, a ton of quakes and aftershocks in Greenville, California, where yesterday a 5.7 earthquake hit. There's an outbreak on Princeton University of meningitis. The Bible said in the last days there'd be wars and rumors of wars. Nation would rise against nation. Kingdom against kingdoms. There'd be famines and pestilence and earthquakes in divers places. And all of these are just the beginning of sorrow. Can I have some coffee right now? But wait, there's more. Termites. What? Termites. And they're starting to feel like it's an apocalypse. They say, listen to this. I want to thank Marner Campbell for this report. Termites swarm New Orleans. People think it's the apocalypse. Termites swarm New Orleans. People think it's the apocalypse. The coming apocalypse are we talking about? Like my radio show? Listen to this. The termites were attacked. The termites, they're saying, are being, listen, tens of thousands of termites have swarmed New Orleans Wednesday night, and that would have been May the 22nd, leading people to believe that the apocalypse has struck the city. What? The termites were attracted to the bright, well-lit devices, which included car headlights, homes, street lights. The insects were expected to hit at the beginning of May, but it has been an usually cold few weeks. They only made their first appearance on Wednesday night, coming out of the cracks and crevices and crawling out of the deep and the depth and the destruction and all of what? They're like they're crawling out of the pits of hell. What's going on? You mean they're attracted to the lights? There's always been lights in New Orleans. Why now? Why in massive numbers? Why do people think it's the apocalypse? But wait, there's more. Snakes! Snakes have killed 60 people in Iraq. A sudden spat of snake attacks has citizens in Iraq, southern Iraq, saying it's a dangerous situation. Large numbers of deadly snakes and vipers and have continued to invade the city as the temperature levels are raising and the nights are cooling off. According to health officials, at least 60 people have been bitten by snakes and have died in the last few weeks. Where? Iraq. Is that a sign of the devil crawling again, the demons of hell? Are we beginning to see apocalyptic signs? Are you saved? Give your life to Jesus Christ. We're living in the last